Yo, what is up, crew? And welcome back to another vlog. Whew. You ever just wake up and feel like ready to go and ready to crush the day? That was how I woke up this morning. My esoteric people out there will probably try to tell me, oh, well, it's because last night was the new moon. You're ready to start new things. And although that may or may not be true, I woke up this morning ready to crush it because I have been consistently showing up for myself, showing up in integrity, and showing up in congruence in my actions with what I want out of life. And it feels great to show up that way. And put simply, many people talk about it. However, many people just like to listen to themselves talk. I'm not one of those people. I enjoy seeing the needle move forward, and I enjoy steady, forward moving progression. Because in anything, if you give yourself the time, if you give yourself the space, and if you show up consistently in virtually anything, you will move the needle forward. And man, the compound effect in all areas of my life right now, professionally, relationally, personally, financially, the compound effect of the decisions that I have made, not only over the last month, but the last 90 days, and over the last year and thereafter, are all starting to come to a head. Which means I'm starting to see the true fruition of not only my labor, but also my patience. And to me, that feels really good. Because we live in a world that is obsessed with instant gratification. When we want it now. We don't want it yesterday, we want it right now. And that's probably mainly because society is filled with all of these get-rich-quick schemes, lose weight fast, 30-day, like all of this bullshit, when really any goal, regardless of how big or how small it is going to take time and consistency to accomplish, because anything that comes quick will leave just as fast. And the truth is in the pudding. I was reading this article about the guy that recently won, I think it was like the Mega Millions or whatever it's called. I personally have never bought a lottery ticket in my life. Personally, in my adult life, I've never bought one for myself. However, this guy, he won the lottery, and I think it was like 64 million, something like that, after taxes that he took away, which is a substantial amount of money. And I guess he was older, he was much older, and he ended up spending $162,000 a week and successfully spent all of the money before he passed away. And I'm like, man, what were you spending money on? And I'm assuming he was living fairly lavishly, probably doing some things he hadn't done before, and hopefully spoiling himself. But all that to say, there's also this big statistic of a majority of the people that win the lottery end up going broke again, if not being in an even worse financial position. And it really comes back to the word financial literacy. Let's just be frank. When we're in school, we're not shown how finances truly work. When you go through school, you are literally taught to continue the cycle of the rat race that society has you in. Here's the example. You go to college, you're going to more than likely take out a student loan, which is going to accrue greater interest as the time goes on. Some people out there, let's say you're going to school for a communications major, getting a degree in communications. Great, congratulations. And I'm not knocking higher education. I'm knocking people's decisions and why they choose to go that route, because they're not thinking long-term. They're not playing long-term games. They're playing short-term games, and really, most of the time, not thinking long-term with the decision that they're making now. And in that, you go to school for a communications degree, you're gonna get after 4 years, if it takes you 4 years, which most of the time, in this day and age, kids are taking between like 4 to 7 years to finish like 4-year degrees. And they're not understanding that although they're extending their time and they're taking their time, you're also paying more in student loans, which is also in the future going to wax you and completely destroy you in interest. And here's what that looks like. You're going to school for 4 to 7 years for a degree that is going to net you $65,000, which means at the end of that, at the end of your schooling, you're gonna have around, let's say ballpark, $120,000 in student debt that is going to grow year after year from interest. And any of those people out there that are like, oh, Biden is doing student loan forgiveness, that's fucking bullshit. Anyone that is relying on that, although I can respect and appreciate, like I saw this TikTok of this woman, this girl whose dad, they were from the Philippines, and whose dad like took on an extra job to be able to pay for her to go to school. And I guess he got the letter that they were getting student loan forgiveness. So yeah, that's sweet. However, who do you think that student loan forgiveness comes from? The fucking taxpayers. You're paying for it either way in the end of it. So all of that to say, I believe the more financial literacy that we as a society have, the greater we are able to set ourselves up for the future and for the immediate present. A lot of the time, people, they live outside their means. They're not conscious of their spending. They think, oh, I need it right now, when really you don't need it. You probably just want it. Now, I have been in different phases of my life where I've had massive amounts of money and abundance, and I've gone through phases in my life where I had to really like pick and choose. Like, was I going to drive myself to work, or was I gonna eat a little bit more food today than I had previously? And I've gotten to make some very crucial decisions in my own life. I mean, I've gone through phases where I've had to sell things to make ends meet. I've had to go to the grocery store line and put things back. I've also gone through the grocery store line and paid it forward and paid for someone else's groceries. And I'm not asking to be like tell me I'm great or anything like that. I'm not looking for anything like that. I'm polarizing this. Regardless on where you're at financially, it can always change. And it probably will change. And even if it doesn't, finding gratitude in what you do have is the key. You know, I have friends that are doing like 2 million per month. They're killing it. They're taking tons and tons of money away. And they have said this countless times. I have many friends that, you know, they have these 8-figure businesses, some that even have 9-figure businesses. And one of them shared with me this the other day. He said, I asked him, when was the time that you felt the wealthiest? And he said, oh, that's easy. The time that I felt the wealthiest in my life was the first time I looked at my bank account and I had $10,000 cash available after I had paid all my bills. That was when I felt the wealthiest in my life, because at that time, $10,000 was a crazy feat. And he said, and I'll be honest, after you are making and taking home $15,000 a month, your life doesn't really change a whole lot after that. Nothing really like existentially changes or externally changed in his life. And I can also relate to this. Nothing changed in my life when I started making those amounts of money and when I was taking home that amount of money. Nothing changed in my life. Sure, I was able to buy more things and like go out and maybe have like an extravagant night or go on an extravagant trip and not worry about my bank account the next day, which led me to realizing and recognizing it was actually my belief. It was my belief around money, and what I actually wanted was security and stability. And I feel like that's what we're all really after. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all being here. and I will see you on the next one. Peace.